So hi everyone, and I want to welcome you guys to our third series on our journey to tech. And today we'll be discussing on cybersecurity, and we have our guest speaker, which is a cybersecurity expert, so that will be joining us, that will be taking us on this journey on how to start a career in cybersecurity. I know these are our third series. The first series we talked about how to start a career in tech, and the second series we talked about how to start a career in Azure cloud computing, and using Azure as a case study. And today we'll be discussing on how to start a career in cybersecurity. So we have one of the forerunners of cybersecurity with us. He has been our colleague, not just our colleague. He was our manager, and we actually deemed it fit to bring him on this call to actually educate us on how we can start a career on cybersecurity and on cybersecurity. And I still remember my humble self, Akbesiri Bebo, your host, and my colleague, my co-host, Abiola Akimbade, and our guest speaker, Omoh. So before we give the floor to our guest speaker to take up, do you have Biola, do you have anything to say before we give the floor to Omoh? Thank you.
Yeah, not so much for me, but if you have questions or anything you want to ask while Omo is in the process of describing his experiences in cybersecurity, we have a Q&A session. We also have the chat. So I would personally be going through the chats. I won't want to interrupt him, but I'll be taking note of the questions and I'll ask as much as possible. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abiola. So if you have any questions, you have the Q&A section. Just drop your questions there. And once Omo is done with the presentation, then also we have a few questions we're still going to ask Omo. So we're going to add as a novice on this, right? So we're just going to ask almost a few questions that we educate everyone, right, on the chat, on the call, right? But if you have any extra question, please make use of the Q&A section and drop your questions there, and we'll actually pick out there the ones we definitely will answer, right? Omar, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Akwesiri, and thank you, Abiola. So good morning to everyone here. To some of us, we first of all just want to apologize for the time it took us for us to actually start. We're supposed to start by 10, but we just wanted to give some of our friends and guest users who want to join us some time. Maybe they are currently running their exercise or daily activities before they get carried away on how to start up with their cybersecurity career, or for the experts that may have meetings here and there and they just want to contribute or also shed more light on their own experiences. Thank you all for joining, and also sincere apology for starting late again. So my name is Omoh Okai Dukbe. Yes, the name is a mouthful, so let's stick to Omoh, right? So I started my career with Globacom, right? I had a 4-year stint with Globacom, the customer care service, and then after which I joined Tech Expert, which was a cloud service provider for Microsoft. During my stint in Tech Expert, I started as a non-technical engineer, down to technical engineer, down to cloud team lead, and after which I progressed to a managerial position, as Akpesiri mentioned. Later transited to Fidelity Bank, where I joined as the Identity and Access Management Unit. After a while, I think a couple of months, I got transferred again to the Threats and Vulnerability Management Unit, all of which is housed in the cybersecurity domain. And I'm currently with Union Bank as part of your information security, which doubles up as the cybersecurity, and also part of the security engineering team. I specifically head the cloud and mobile security engineering there. So, yes, you can say between my years as customer care representative in Globalcom down to where I am currently in security engineering with Union Bank, it's about a 10-year gap, 10-year experience, 10 years experience. And this transition didn't just begin with a one night sleep and wake up on how I want to become better. It was a gradual process that needed to be developed, and a lot of reading and a lot of understanding. So that's just a bit about me, about my background, and that's why I thought it wise for everyone to know. So we'll be delving into the slide itself. I won't be looking at the slide so much. It's just going to be a conversation. Let's make it a conversation. All of what you've heard so far about cybersecurity, all of the complications you think you know about cybersecurity, all of the questions you've been wanting to ask about cybersecurity. I'll do my best to answer most of them, and for the ones I can't answer, I'll do my research. I'll consult with the higher authorities, right? And revert with the feedback, because no man is an island on his own. So we'll try as much as possible to satisfy your curiosity and also to help you out in transition if you're looking at coming to cybersecurity or transiting to tech generally. So, like the presentation says, starting a career in cybersecurity, talk with me, Omoh, my humble self. So I'll move on to the next slide. Please, Ray. So, what is cybersecurity? A lot of people have been asking, what is cybersecurity? What is information security? You know, these are confusing terms, but if you really take a deep dive into it, you then want to understand why cybersecurity or why information security. Now, information security is concerned with the security around your data. Okay, all your information is data. All anything that has to do with your data, that's what your information security is concerned with. Then cybersecurity is an aspect of the information security. Basically, just talks to, in simple terms, I'm trying as much as possible to make it simple. In simple terms, it's just your security around how your device or how you communicate to the internet. In plain terms. So for every time you put on you take your mobile device and you're trying to access the internet, you access your Gmail, you access your OneDrive, your Instagram, all right, there's a lot of security that's in place there for you to be able to connect to, aside from the network connectivity. We want to be able to ensure that you are able to securely relate with your Gmail, able to securely go to your Instagram page without somebody from nowhere or somewhere having access to your account and do things. A lot of you are aware of this recent two-factor or encryption that WhatsApp introduced, right? This is an aspect of also cybersecurity in the sense that we're trying to make sure that your communication with your friends, your family, sticks to who you are talking to without going elsewhere. Now, if you apply this in the concept of cybersecurity, we are saying this is just the basic way of ensuring that your information is as confident as it should be, the integrity of your information is as it should be, the availability of your information. When I say availability, the systems responsible for you to pass those information is as available as it should be. So we don't want it to look like sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you bring up your phone, you are trying to send a message. At that point, that is when Globalcom will decide to go down. Data issues. It's already affecting your availability. Or we don't want a situation where you send a message and somebody from back end, right, goes to your data and then manipulates the information. It's already affecting your integrity of your information. We don't want a situation where you, whenever you drop your device, someone else can go there, open your device and send a message. That's affecting the confidentiality of your information. So these are critical areas that cybersecurity is born out of. We refer to it as the CIA triad, right? Confidentiality of your information, integrity of your information, availability of your information. So please, in case I'm driving too far or going too technical, Biola and Siri, bring me back home. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the whole of cybersecurity boils down to the CIA triage. Confidentiality. You are who you say you are when you send your information, and how do we verify you? Integrity. That whatever data or information you are sending out there, it doesn't change, right? We refer to it as non-repudiation. Availability, that your device that you're using to connect to the internet to send your information is always available, or the Gmail that you are connecting to, their servers are always available. You understand? So this is what it's entailed when we talk about cybersecurity. And why should it matter? Cybersecurity matters because in as much as you connect to the internet, you are already exposed to the bad guys who we refer to as the threat actors. You understand? Like when you watch a movie, you see some guys that are the good guys, you call them the main actor or the protagonist, and then the bad guys, you refer to them as the antagonist. I don't know. I don't want to mix those up. Feel free to correct me if I got it right. Yeah. So now, there are always bad guys out there that are always looking for ways to breach the confidentiality of your information, the integrity of your information, the availability of these softwares or these servers that you have access to. And we refer to them as threat actors. So why are we doing this? Why cybersecurity? Why should it matter to you? Why do you want to go into cybersecurity? You want to understand the process by which people are easily attacked, even without physically attacking them. You want to understand how devices can be used as a weapon to get to you. You want to know how much you want to securely keep your information without third party having access to it. And if you have this kind of mindset, then cybersecurity or information security is for you. All right. And I want to indulge you. I also want to make a plea. A lot of people go out there and tell you you don't need to have any skill at all when you're going to cybersecurity. Yes, you don't need to have any skill. Like, for example, myself, I didn't have any skill. I was just a customer care representative, but there was a transition phase, right? That transition phase requires that you have to be able to align yourself with what is happening around you and how to plug yourself to it. One of the ways to do so is to be disciplined, set a goal. Now, if Omoh says I want to be a cybersecurity engineer, why do I want to be a cybersecurity engineer? What aspect of cybersecurity do I want to specialize in? What are the different domains of cybersecurity that I feel like I participate in, that can bring my skill or the current knowledge that I have into play? You understand? Now, for the key areas of cybersecurity, we have, according to CISSP, there are about 8 domains. But because this is just an introductory class, we want to refine it to as short as possible. So for what you see, network security, this is how the basic thing about network security is how your network connect, your systems connect to the internet and how to talk to each other, right? For the network security, you want to be able to apply some form of protection, right, to how your connection works. You understand? From my device currently where I am in my house, talking to you via your device out in your house. If we are to be in a corporate environment, right, there will be a VPN or a firewall that I will stand in just to make sure that you are who you say you are when you're trying to connect to our network. You understand? So that's one aspect of network security, of cyber security. And for this network security, truth be told, you need to have a bit of experience, right? You need to, because it's like, how do I put it in simple terms? Like a farmer going to a farm, where I can go on.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question. So when you're talking about experience in network security, so I don't really have a lot of experience in network security. So I was thinking, what sort of experience are you speaking about in that aspect?
Yes, so when I talk about network security, you need to be able to understand how network work. What is network? What are the different network concepts, the topologies of network? In order for you to have that, you need to have a bit of core network. Have you configured a router before? Have you configured switches before? Have you worked in a server room where you have to understand the cables, the IP4, the IP6 IPs? You understand? Because you won't be able to perform security if you don't understand how your network works. So one of the key ways you can actually help yourself to have a foundational knowledge in network is to go for courses and classes on network, foundational knowledge. But a key advantage would be for you to just be there and look at how these things are done, which many of us might not have opportunity to, right? To have access to how the cables are connected, or how my PC talks to my server, what kind of router does it use, what are the different types of router, how the floors on each building, on a 10-story buildings, are configured. Even myself, I have a bit of challenge when it comes to networking, because the experience would definitely speak, right? So you need to understand this. But if you want to really, if that is where your passion lies and you want to really help yourself, I would suggest you go for the ISC Square, Cybersecurity Fundamentals. They did a lot of work there when it comes to network concepts in the network security domain. And also, if you go to Cisco Skill for All, right, URL, and take a network foundational class, there are a lot of labs there you can actually use that can help you to understand how network work. Again, it is practical, very practical, and it requires of a whole lot of understanding and discipline when it comes to network security. So yes, it is possible for you to start from ground zero, but don't assume that within a space of 6 months, 1 year, you're a professor of network. You need to take it gradual, understand how it works, read more, watch more videos, do more labs to understand that part.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So if you still have any questions on this, like Viola mentioned, please always ensure to drop it on the Q&A section or on the chat. And if you have any confusions, we'll bring it out to our attention, and then we can stop, take a break, explain that to your question, or provide answers to it, and then move on. Then there's the identity and access management. So identity and access management, what we refer to as IAM in popular concepts, is very key. Why is it key? Because you need to be able to give the right amount of access to who needs to work. You need to be able to identify who you are. Let's say, for example, I think I have an Oliochi. Okay, now let me use Steven. I have a Steven on this line here right now. Now, Steven works in a multinational organization, right? He has his ID card, which has been given to him by the human resource. He has his laptop or a PC, and Steven belongs to the accounting department. I want Steven to be able to come to my organization, right, where he works, an international organization, let's say Google, Chevron, or where. And at the first point of Steven getting to his bank or to his head office or where he works, he has to identify himself. The security man at the post will say, "Oga, who are you, sir?" So your first identity is your ID card. You bring it out. "Please, sir, I am a staff of this organization. This is how you know I am a staff." So that takes you through the first layer. Now, Stevie belongs to accounting. He has been given to a laptop to function. And he needs to be able to open this laptop and access all of the information or resources he needs to work with. What does he need to do? He needs a unique identity, a creation, an ID that can say, okay, this person, whenever I see Stevie.o or OO Steven, depending on the nomenclature, or depending on how the organization does their naming, right? It makes it unique for Steven to be able to sign in, and that the system can recognize that this is Steven signing into his system or logging into a system. That is another layer of identity, trying to prove who you are. Then Steven belongs to the accounting department. It needs to be able to have access to a SAP application. It needs to be able to have access to a specified Excel that where he needs to do his compilation or computation, right? Now, being the fact that Steven is a member of accounting department doesn't mean that he should have access to what is in IT department, right? So you need to be able to control the kind of access that Steven has. So I've just broken down your identity and access management in a lay term for you. Your identity, if you go to the technological perspective, they'll tell you authentication. You hear words like authentication, you hear words like authorization. Then when you go to access control, you talk about role-based access control and the likes. I don't want to drive you with all of those technical jargons. I'm just trying to lay it out there in simple concept, in simple understanding. So I need to be able to know who you are. I need to be able to verify who you say you are. I also need to be able to restrict you to what you do without affecting business. So that's where your identity and access management concept comes in. All right. Then for the security operations center, this is like the heart of your cybersecurity. In fact, if I'm going to recommend, I would say begin your career in security operations center. Understand what it means to have alerts, understand what it means to monitor your device, understand what it means to monitor credentials. Now, security operations center embodies a lot of subunits. There is the security analyst there that does the different job of analyzing traffic on your SIM2, which is your security and event management, incident and event management solution, SIM. We have a lot of them out there, QRadar, Rapid7, and the likes, Splunk. Now, even in Azure, you have Azure Sentinel as your SIM2. Now, what does Security Operations Center guys do? All of your network connectivity, all of the access that has been given, it is all plugged into your SIM to be able to monitor what you do real time and also to be able to monitor external threats. That is basically, it's almost as, okay, let me use it in a church concept. It's almost like your church usher. That's the conventional church, the conventional church ushers. That go to, when you come into the church, he monitors you, shows you where to sit. And when you want to go, and when there's any activity, when you're sleeping, when the administration is not hitting you hard, you're sleeping, he comes there to wake you up. Or when you're tapping your device, he comes there to tell you, guy, you're tapping your device. You understand that when there's a problem, he's always there to assist you too whenever there's a problem. Now, when you apply to Security Operations Center, your SOC, what you do is to monitor and configure their systems to raise alerts. Whenever there is any anomaly, whenever there's anything that is away from norms, an alert is generated, and then they try to investigate and triage, and then they send to the appropriate teams. You understand? Okay, so that's basically what your Security Operations Center guys do. And I would recommend that you take some of the free courses on QRadar is on the internet, some of the free courses on Splunk, some of the free courses on Azure Sentinel. Okay, this can help you to understand what you need to do or how you need to perform your job on Security Operations Center. Then there is the GRC. We refer to them as GRC. You see, these guys, they know everything and they know nothing. It's like that. Why we say they know everything and they know nothing is because they know all of the standards. They know all of the policies regarding your governance, regarding your risk, regarding your compliance. But can they actually understand when you try to explain to them, okay, sir, this thing you're asking me to work on, it's not possible. They can quote 10,000 standards for you. According to ISO standard 2701 version 12 sub version 1, it's stipulated that this has to be done. You understand? But this is a very interesting place if you are the type that likes to do a lot of research, a whole lot of research, and you also need to have a bit of experience in information security or cyber security for you to be able to enjoy GRC. But you need to read. You need to understand the ISO 2700 standard. You need to understand the NIST standard. You need to understand the CIS, Center for Internet Service standard. You need to understand so many standards. Like you need to be an encyclopedia, PCI DSS standard, payment card information standard. You understand? So it's very important. And there's one aspect that my colleagues here left out: security engineering. Very important. Anytime you hear security engineering, it means these are the guys that implement solutions that are meant to perform your security functions for you. Be it your Azure Sentinel, be it your cloud configuration, be it your Splunk, be it your different solutions. These are the guys that run everything for you. So the list is more. right? But these are the core domain that we can summarize your cybersecurity to. And anywhere you find yourself in falls under one of these subdomains. You understand? Then steps to start a career in cybersecurity. Like I mentioned, foundational knowledge is very important. IT basics. Like I pointed out, go to Cisco Skill for All. Start your basic IT foundation there. ISCC. Once you do that, it's not the people that go there and read one part, read two parts, and then they go to read DOMs and come back and tell yourself you're satisfied. No, you need to be able to read through the domains itself, understand what it's about, and also be able to apply your knowledge. You understand? Then two, it requires a lot of reading, development, technical skills. You have to go to places like Udemy, plural sites, depending on where you want to specialize in. You understand? Then you get certified. The most basic of your cybersecurity journey starts with CC squared and the Cisco Skill for All basic training. But when you want to start pushing yourself out there for job opportunities, you need to go with your CompTIA Security Plus, right? I would time it as a necessity. If I'm to do a recruitment exercise for anybody now that wants to venture into cybersecurity, I'm going to be looking out for CompTIA Security Plus. Because if you have that certification, it tells me that you already have an idea of your information security as a whole, and that you'll be able to, all you need to do is just to apply your practical skills, give you practical scenarios to fine-tune your skills, and then gain experience. Please always make it a point of view to attend webinars, try Acme sites, ask the boss, and there are a lot of YouTube sites too that you can actually go on and check for some of the labs in the particulars. You may not necessarily have the hands-on, but the fact that you're able to explain it, all right, we tell any experience or any expert or a professional that all you need is an opportunity to express yourself. It begins with having your foundational knowledge. Okay. I don't know if you have any questions on this, or Biola and Akwesiri. I think I've been talking too much. Do you want to cut in or say anything so far?
No, not for now. Probably when you are done with what you said.
Okay. So these are just the gradual steps. Like I said, foundational knowledge is important. Acquiring skills is very good. You may not need to go into scripting full time. Scripting comes in via experience. You understand? And then your tools and your soft skill. Yes, soft skill. I failed to mention that part. In cyber, you would have to work with your information technology guys, IT guys. Believe me, they are very okay with the way things are running. Don't come and press Control Spoil for me in the name of trying to deploy security. Please, if it is working well, don't come and disturb my life with whatever standard or framework they are talking about. So you need to have an interpersonal personal relationship skill with those kind of guys. You need to be able to convey to them what you want to do, how it will affect them, how it will impact them positively or negatively. What is the overall view from the bank posture when it comes to implementing these things? If you don't have this, my brother, my sister, they are in for a long thing. So soft skill is very important. It's just like trying to convince a customer to buy a high-end phone, and you have to speak a lot of English and come to his level to understand what he wants, why you want him to buy it. Uh, Next slide, please. So, yes, career pathways in cybersecurity. So for the career pathways, I won't dwell so much on this on the slide here, but I'll just tell you randomly. So there are so many career pathways, right, depending on where you want to specialize in. Now, if you want to do the identity and access management, right, you need to have an idea of what identity and access management is, the kind of solutions, and then go on different YouTube and webinars to understand what they do and how it is applied. Then if you want to become a network security engineer, for example, you need to understand how your network interacts. You need to understand firewall, segmentation, network detection, network detection. I think I'm trying to remember NDS and IDPS and NDS. All right, and also the different ports, UDP ports, UDP traffic, TCP traffic, the various ports on how they communicate to each other. So it's very key you understand that too as well. So for network security, there's always the core networks. We call them the core network because they go there and they do the plugins, the router plugins, how this router is talking to this server, what this is talking to that, how the communication flows. And if you want to do this, please take your time to understand this, because so many times when you hear some services are down in some of the corporate organizations, right, it's majorly due to this network configuration. You get maybe sometimes you're trying to do a financial transaction and then you're unable to connect to your app. Your data is very good, your data is correct and it's working fine. You have abundance of gig in your device or your device, but for some weird reason you can't connect to your mobile app to do your payments. Network is always that complicated when it comes to that. Identity and access management, I've talked about it. Asset management, you can't protect what you don't know. That is where your asset management is about. If you don't know the amount of devices, servers, laptops, applications you have in your environment, how do you want to protect it? So asset management gives you an overview of what you have in your environment. What are the devices that are plugged into your environment? What are the personal devices that are plugged into your environment? Like some of you guys that go to airports, for example, and they give you this free Wi-Fi. Somebody is out there monitoring what you have or how you're plugged into their network, and there's a tool there. Maybe they have Intune, for example, that registers your device on their platform, and they're able to monitor your activities there. You understand? And there's other amazing tools as well that you don't even need to do some plugins. All you just need to do is just download the agent to your device, and they have control of your system. So asset management is key. You need to be able to understand what you have in your environment for you to have to protect. It's not just restricted to laptops. It involves your softwares. It involves a lot of other things also as well. Then security and risk management. These are the guys that enforce policies, right? You want them to understand what the ISO 27001, the PCI DSS, payment card industries standard. Challenges in cybersecurity. Very clear. Number one is technical barrier. To those prophets that come around and tell you cybersecurity is very easy, you don't need to be technical. Please run away from them. They will make you feel quick time. You understand? So you need to be technical. Technical in the sense that even if you don't have the hands-on practical desk or lab, you don't have the hands-on environment to practicalize what you know, you at least need the knowledge. You need to be able to tell someone, just by conversing with them, how your phone is able to communicate with Gmail and you are able to read what is in your mail. You need to be able to tell someone that this encryption that WhatsApp innovated some couple of years ago is for safe communication between me and you whenever we are talking via WhatsApp. You understand? So these are technical stuff that need to be explained technically. And if anybody comes here and tells you, oh, all you need to do is just go there, look for an opportunity and plug yourself in, then you become an expert in cybersecurity, believe me, you will fail, because at some point someone's going to ask you, do you even understand how these things work? And when you start listening to questions like that, it means you have a foundational problem when it comes to technicality of what these things are meant to do. Getting started, the best way to start is to start. Don't tell yourself I'm going to start 2 years from now. Don't tell yourself I don't have enough money for me to start doing cybersecurity training or courses. Like I mentioned, Cisco Skill for All will give you free access to a lot of beginner and intermediate classes on cybersecurity, and even on core network concept as well. ISC Square will give you, CC will give you the different domains, right? So you just have to be disciplined. I won't want to gauge how disciplined you want to be, but I can say a 1 hour daily study can help you and go a long way in helping you. 1 hour daily, consistently. It doesn't have to be 1 hour today, being Saturday, then 1 hour on Tuesday next week, then 1 hour 3 weeks from now. You just keep going back to previous class. So just start. Tell yourself what you know. Assess yourself. If you are someone that is in cloud security, for example, or that's in the cloud, for example, the first thing you want to ask yourself is, okay, now that I'm in the cloud, where can I apply myself in cybersecurity? And that will be on security engineering. If you'll be doing SOC, for example, Security Operations Center, and you want to ask yourself, where can I apply myself in? There's the pen testers, there's the red team and red team and blue team, offensive and defensive team. There are also many other roles, sub roles you can get from SOC. Data and access management engineers, access management analysts, depending on how much tools you've experienced, how much tools you've deployed, how much tools you have experience in working with. Then the workload. So the workload might not be necessarily related to what you do at work. It's more of how up to date are you with the current trend. A typical example would be recently there was a hack that occurred with Deloitte, not Deloitte Nigeria, Deloitte UK. They came out to deny it, right? But if you really paid attention to the internet and the news, you will find out that there was a ransomware attack on Deloitte UK. These guys were attacked with a ransomware. Ransomware is like an encryption module that is put into your environment that encrypts all of your data. Okay, one of the threat actor uses, he encrypts all of your information in your laptop. Let's say you have your PC right now. You go to these popular movie sites that just come up and tell you, click here, click this, all these pop-up ads. Some of them might have this ransomware embedded in them. When you do this, you download a ransomware that locks your system and you have to pay money in Bitcoin. You understand? So in trying to overcome challenges in cybersecurity, this platform is one of those platforms. Join the mentorship programs. Look for guys. There are a lot of them in LinkedIn that are into cybersecurity. Talk to them one-on-one. Have an understanding of how they started. Plug yourself into their experience, and then from there you can push yourself. It might not necessarily be a physical meet. You don't need to meet. It's just a tidbit here. Hey, hi. For example, you can reach out. Hi, Omoh. I've been trying to look at where to specialize in cybersecurity. This is what I know. This is what I want. This is where I'm aiming for. I can give you like a guide on how to proceed, on how to achieve that. Do you understand? So these are ways you can help yourself. Use free and affordable resources, like I keep mentioning. There are so many free available platforms you can always learn from. We're talking about Udemy is there, Pluralsight is there, Cisco for ISC Square. A lot of them are coming up with different programs that can actually assist you. They work on side projects. Okay, now working on side projects may be a challenge because not all platforms can afford this to you. But if you find yourself in an environment where you can plug yourself to a side project, please do so. It might not necessarily be for the money, just for you to have that hands-on experience that can actually that can play a part in your career. Understand? So then if you go to Cisco there are practical labs there that can actually help you to learn so much of what you need to do in cybersecurity. Kwesiri, next. So these are some of the resources I've been talking about. NIST cybersecurity framework, SANS. It pays more. I think NIST cybersecurity framework, they came up with the latest version. I think that should be version 2.3 or 3, version 3. And it's no longer a 5 parts now. It's now 6, where there's a governed part that helps in your cybersecurity journey. So websites, books might not be easy because we're in the age of technology where you can easily go online and get anything you want. Even YouTube is a great resource. So for me personally, I would suggest websites and YouTube channels. You understand? These are the good ways for you to like get materials and resources for you to create a path for yourself in cybersecurity. Okay, I think I've been able to run through all of this. Siri, Abiola, I don't know anyone in the comment
Yes. So thank you very much. I will say my able manager. So thank you very much for the session. I think you have been able to touch some key areas in cybersecurity that will enable someone to actually start their journey, right?
Yeah.
Like you talked about joining joining some attending webinars, joining trainings, joining different groups that actually discuss more of this cybersecurity, and also have somebody you actually look up to on this field, like a mentor, and allow that person to be your mentor when you're starting this journey. So mentorship is actually one of the key areas in this tech field, right? Once you have somebody you're looking up to, and you discuss with that person, and that person actually accepts to mentor you, is going to push you very well to become whatever you want to become in the tech, in any field, even in the tech world, in the finance world, or in the security, any world, any areas we tend to join, right? So
Yeah.
that mentorship is actually key. So we're going to move into the next session. I think we just have 14 minutes left, like what we said at the beginning of the call. If you have any questions, please drop your questions on the chat, and we'll definitely ask the questions to our able guest speaker, right? And he will be able to answer your question. Or if he wants, we can answer ourselves. Definitely, we're going to answer them, right? So so we're going to have some little questions from our own end that will be asking the guest speaker to get a deep insight um, on how to start this journey, right? On his own experience, how he started, what happened, what the challenges he encountered, how was he able to overcome those challenges? Did he fight with his manager? Did he had something to do with his colleagues? Did he maneuver his way? How was he able to solve these challenges in his journey to where he is now? So we'll be having a few questions to ask our guest speaker, right? So Biola, the floor is yours. So we just tip in little questions that we have for the guest speaker. Thank you.
Yeah, Omoh, I hope you are prepared, I've always wondered that if someone wants to switch to cybersecurity,
Yeah.
for you personally, what was your inspiration like when it comes to switching to cybersecurity? Because I knew you back then as someone who was more into IAM than management. So, what inspired that jump from management to cybersecurity, and how would someone who has no experience in the field be able to make that jump? So, I think that's what's coming to my head right now.
Okay. Yeah. So for me already, like you mentioned, I already have a bit of foundation in cloud. But why cybersecurity for me? I think it started with somebody telling me fishing. And the first thing that came to my head was fish, Fish. And I'm like, fish? What do you mean by fishing? Going to the river to fish and stuff like that. So it was when the guy sat me down and broke it down simply for me. Phishing, Phishing, is a way of attacking people by sending malicious mails with content that can actually be dangerous to you and or exfiltrate data from your device. My sense just opened up. So there are so many things I don't know in this whole technology space. So that curiosity drove me to trying to understand, okay, phishing, what kind of technology is this? What realm of technology does this belong to? So it was that curiosity that kept pushing me left, right, center, and from there I started taking courses like that. So like I said, when I was talking about the different aspects of cybersecurity, it begins with your curious mind. Cybersecurity is not where you think you've done all of the technology things and then you just wake up one morning and tell yourself you're a professor or you're a professional. No, things are evolving. Tomorrow is somewhere, someone might come in with, I think there's 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the concept of hardware came out. And we're like, what is hardware again? That's ADWARE. Now, when you go to these free websites, where you download your movies from, you see this pop-up, those notifications that come, click here to download these. These are hardwares. So it is with this curiosity that kept driving me, and that's the whole thing that chased me down to the cybersecurity. From the fishing down, it gets to the different types of worms. I'm like, worms. Worms are like microorganisms now. What are you saying? What is worms again? Virus. What is virus again? You get. And from time to time, you just keep asking yourself curiosity, why this, why that, why are they using this in this technology space? And that's how I found myself in cybersecurity. So
Nice.
it was just the terms, the words they kept saying. I just wanted to find out, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does how does it play out? You understand?
Nice. So I think my follow-up question to that will be, so for instance, I assume I'm someone who's never been into technology and I don't understand everything that is happening. So
Hmm.
I understand that you're like a senior cybersecurity engineer at Senior Bank. So what does your typical day over there usually look like? Because if I want to go into something today, the first thing that will be on my mind is, am I going to die? Is it horrid? Is it tough? Like, is it something that will take 24 hours of my day? So how does your day usually look like when it comes to um, your cybersecurity practice at your workplace?
Okay, so in my own sphere in Bank, okay, what we have is we have different aspects of cybersecurity, right? So where I belong to is the security engineering. Now in security engineering, we have the app and DB, application and database engineering security. There's a threat and vulnerability management team that does the threat and vulnerability management. There's a cloud security, there's a network security, and there's a system security. You understand? So my typical day begins with getting to the office, check your mails, and check your alerts. You have to be sure that everything is well and okay, the way you left it before you left home from work on the previous day. You check your mails, what is going on, what meetings you have, what activities you need to participate in, and then you have to relate with your colleagues. If your own unit where you manage is okay, right? It doesn't mean your knowledge is not needed in the system and security unit, system and network security unit. It doesn't mean your knowledge is not needed in the threat and vulnerability management unit. Understand? So my day to day begins with check your mails, check all of the configurations I've done previously, do an assessment of my environment to find out if there are any potential breach. You understand? Because these guys don't sleep, man. They are always looking for how to exploit you. After the assessment is done, I look for check what the assessment result is, compile it, and send the recommendations to the guys that need to fix it. If it's something I cannot fix, join them on calls, join them on sessions, come up with ideas on how to get it fixed. If they can't fix it, troubleshoot why they can't fix it. You understand? And sometimes you also get to join calls with your colleagues on complicated issues that might need you also to work. And the one thing that you should try as much as possible to avoid is avoid a situation where, because you didn't do your job, led to a breach on the network.
Okay.
Yes, that is one thing you should avoid. So if it means you sitting down on your desk doing a continuous assessment, please try as much as possible to do your assessment to understand where your network is, what is your current security posture, what is your current standing in the environment. If somebody tries to attack you now, will they succeed or will they fail? You get. So these are the things you need to actually look at. That's my day-to-day activity in summary.
So has a breach occurred from your own end before, and how did it happen? How did it happen?
That would be a lot of that would be a lot of corporate information. Okay, it wasn't
Okay.
really related to me though, but to my unit per se. But it was more of uh, how do I put this now? This I'm trying to fine tune the words to do you so
We'll
that
come back, to
it
this.
doesn't
So
lead to leakage. Okay, okay.
So I think another question is, so what challenges did you face basically when you're starting your career? Because for instance, me coming into tech as a newbie, I can already see some pertinent challenges. For instance, someone coming into technology may not have money for a laptop, for instance. It may not have electricity, for instance. All these plural sites, Udemy, many of them are not free. It may
Yes.
not have money to learn. So personally,
Mhm.
me, I would say YouTube for that one, but the tough ones, I'll leave them to you. So what about learning? How do I combine, for instance, if I want to transition from let's say I'm a project manager and I want to become a cybersecurity engineer. How do I transition from that to becoming a journalist? So what challenges generally, how will we overcome them generally?
Okay, so I'll take it in three. I'll scope it to three. The first scope will be knowledge. Yes. So if you are transitioning to anything at all for whatsoever reason, either for financial gain or for knowledge, for any other thing, it has to be knowledge first, right? So if you're coming from a project management field, for example, you need to look at where you are currently skill-wise. What aspect of your project management can you apply, right, in cybersecurity? Now, I'll take just 20 seconds to explain this. Now, project management, for example, you handle a lot of projects, you do a lot of reading. Definitely, I'll be looking at governance, risk, and compliance, GRC. Do you understand? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of linked based on my existing experience. That's for project management. Now, knowledge is very important. I will keep mentioning it. Go to your Cisco Skill for All. It is free, absolutely free. They have different courses there: threat management courses, network security courses, cyber security foundation, intermediate skill in for cyber security. This is very key. Then, secondly, there's the ISC Square. ISC is like an international body that governs cybersecurity, right? And they have a foundational basic class for cybersecurity, which is the ISCC, certified in cybersecurity. I will recommend you doing this as well too. Now, for logistics, which is the second scope, yes, for anything worth doing, right, there has to be sacrifice. You understand? You remember these days when after I finish work, I still have to sit down in the office for 2 hours just to try and cover up one or two things of my own personal development. You have to sacrifice your time. You just
So
have to.
I know you mentioned 1 hour per day. So for instance, if I should do 1 hour per day in a year, it's 356 hours. So like what would be the timeline if I'm committing, so for instance 1 hour per day, say every day of my life, 1 hour to become a cybersecurity engineer? Do you think it would be feasible within 3 to 6 months? So that would probably give me about 150 hours of learning. Do you think it would be feasible? So
Set
that,
realistic, yeah, set realistic timeline. Realistic timeline is very important here, which is the third scope. Don't because you have a friend that is into cybersecurity and you think he's making all the millions in the world, then you think that by setting yourself up to become a cybersecurity professional within 3 months, just because you want to make the money. No, it doesn't work that way. Set realistic timeline. Realistic timeline begins with foundation. Foundation might take you up to a year because cybersecurity is just an aspect of information security. Information security is embedded in information technology. If you
okay.
don't understand how the technology works, how can you secure it?
Okay.
So you need to understand the basics and the foundation. Please set realistic time. Now, I will advise if you are the type that we refer to as a FICO, that whenever you grab something, it enters your head like overnight. You don't even need to kill yourself over it. Then you should be looking at 6 months. But if you are
Okay.
a type of me that belongs to the Backbenchers Class Association of Nigeria, where we do the rubbish we do and then we take our time to study very well, please set a realistic timeline of 1 year. It's very
Okay.
key because if you don't get it right from your foundation, you won't get it right when you are plugged into it.
Okay. So 6 months to 1 year of. So I'm pretty sure you're not talking about the one that you will do 10 days, 10 days off. So you're talking about.
No, I'm consistent, 1 hour per day.
Okay.
Consistent. That's the consistency. If you're not consistent, I'm talking about 2 years because life will always happen, right? So I don't expect you to always have that 1 hour every time, but be sincere to yourself, evaluate yourself, and tell yourself certain truths. Now, if you want to set a realistic timeline, attach it to a goal. The goal will be okay. There is a course. ISC Square gives you a certified in cybersecurity course, right? Set a goal that within 3 months or 6 months, you want to complete it and run through it 2 times before you go for the certification. Do you understand? So that will push you to want to achieve it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that those are the ways you can help yourself.
Yeah, I think what Omo is also saying also applies to other fields or every single field in security. So yeah, I think that makes sense. I would also apply that. If I do want to have a day and in 6 months, I don't learn cybersecurity. I'll come out. So, so also another thing I'll ask is, so I think people are always concerned about certifications and all. So if I want to come in now and I have say 200,000 like this budgeted for certification as a starter,
Hmm.
or let's say I have more, what certifications can I do from the very beginning that would help me or would stand out on my resume? Because
So, yeah, I understand. So, because of the current economic crisis we have in Nigeria, a lot of these certifications are actually foreign, which means your dollar is involved. So, for a basic start, like I have been opportune to enter some of the interview sessions with some guys, right? And one of the key certification they always look out for is your CompTIA Security Plus.
okay.
That is like your key foundational certification into cybersecurity or into information security.
So I'm seeing the costs. I hope my eyes are not paining me.
It should be around 200,000 up to 300,000 plus if I'm not careful right now due to the current dollar rate.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
Yes, so that's previously used to be around 100, 150, but we know
Someone
what
said
happened.
in the chat said Sec Plus is 355K. So I don't know. I can't verify that, but let's assume it's that range. So
Okay, so cool. Yeah, so those are the kind of certification you want to start with. Then, if you want to now specialize, there are different certification for where you want to specialize. There's a Certified Information Security Manager, CISM, which means you
okay.
must have a bit of experience. Those are in dollars. I think CISM is about $1,100, if I'm sure. So for you to write certification, I would advise you have a lot of experience and a lot of
What is it?
savings. There's the CISA, Certified Security Information Security Auditor, and the Baba of them all is the CISSP for cyber security. You understand? In between, there are several certifications too. Certified Ethical Hacker, CEH, EJPT, or then there's Cisco Certified Pen Tester, CPENT. So it
Sorry,
depends
sorry,
on where you want to specialize.
sorry to interrupt. But if it's just one for a beginner, which one would you?
I would always recommend CompTIA Security Plus.
Okay, I think we would go with that because since I think all those other certifications are a bit advanced, so we don't really
Yeah,
know the level of people. So we want.
exactly. CompTIA Security Plus. I know it's tough out there. I know it's challenging, but I would always recommend CompTIA Security Plus for a start.
All right. So one more question from me, maybe before I hand over to Siri. So me, I don't know how to write code though. So let's assume I don't know how to write code. If I want to enter cybersecurity, would I face potential problems? Because let's just assume, for instance, me, I don't know how to write code. I've never seen an ID, nothing. How would I cope with cybersecurity? Do I need to write code?
Okay. Ah, this is one of the most challenging questions ever. I would advise to have a foundation or have an understanding of what code talks to what, depending on where you find yourself. Currently, I know basic stuff about PowerShell. I know basic stuff about Linux, and that suffice for me. And there's a custom query with Microsoft, which I utilize also due to my job. So
Okay.
yes, if you find yourself in cybersecurity, depending on where you want to specialize in. Example, let me apply it this way, give it an example. If you want to be a pen tester and you don't know Linux, brother, you're playing. How do you want to pen test? How do you want to utilize the hacking tools or the pen testing tools? Do you understand? So, in a nutshell, please have a fair knowledge of some of the scripting languages. It might not be called Python, it might not be called C, JavaScript or C Sharp. It might just be basic PowerShell, Linux, and that's all.
Okay. I think that makes sense. That answers my question because I've always been thinking about it that if I want to transition into cybersecurity, would I have to go and start learning Python? I know some people are devs over here that already have that experience, but
Mm-hmm.
but for some, I think it will scare them away if they hear, okay, oh, I have to learn this one, I have to learn this one. But since it's just the basics, I think we are good to go. So I think there you have it. You can get into cybersecurity with basic knowledge of
Basic knowledge,
programming.
yes. Yeah, depending on what you want to specialize in. So if you are doing pen test and code, you need to have a basic knowledge of your Linux and PowerShell script and how to, or batch scripting. But if you're coming to some of the parts of security, operation center, or GRC, or security engineering, you may not necessarily need your scripting.
Okay, thank you. I think for me, that's all for now. The last question I wanted, I'll say it after Siri, if Siri has any questions.
For me, I think like we have actually spent enough time on this, right? We are already 11:05, right? And
Okay.
so I just have one question to ask, right? And I
Yeah.
understand you actually transited uh from being a technical support engineer
Mm-hmm.
down to a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Then being a manager in tech experts, you actually manage us, right? Being a manager in tech experts, you now transited to cybersecurity. So how were you able to manage? I know definitely we are all in identity, right? Identity
Mm-hmm.
management. So the foundation was already there. But there are definitely going to be some knowledge gap, right? Between
Yeah.
when you're transiting into this particular cybersecurity area. So how were you able to manage this transition from being a manager, being a technical support, down to cybersecurity, and what actually helped you to facilitate your trainings to actually come up to speed to be in the same level with your equals currently where you are?
Okay. So, thank you for that question, Siri. So, yes, for a period of time that I was doing people's management, right, I kind of fell short technically, you understand? So,
Yeah.
when the opportunity came, it was again identity and access management, but this time at a larger scope. Scope in the sense that it wasn't Azure,
Okay.
right? So the first organization was using its own identity as its own identity and access management structure, which is different from what I was used to. So the first thing is you learn what you have before, and then you relearn. So it was a phase for me where I had to relearn and took my time, sat down, asked a lot of questions. No matter how dumb the questions were, I needed to ask them because I needed to understand. And after asking my questions, I go back home, take my time out, 2 hours to study, understand what this talks about. But the good thing is, now you already have a knowledge in identity and access management. You already know what identity and access management entails. So it was easy for me to understand some of the explanation that came in. So all I needed to do was just to fine tune the information I was receiving to what I already know and then merge them together so I can be unique. And then so it wasn't easy. It won't be easy, especially if you are in a different environment using a different technology. It wasn't easy, but with consistency and dedication and discipline and continuous reading, you will get there. Even at that, let me talk about one of the challenges. Even after getting to identity and access management, I was moved to a new team, a threat and vulnerability management. Yes. Now, imagine you have no idea of threat and vulnerability management. And I was in a scenario where the guys that were supposed to teach me had already resigned. And the last guy left. It only took me for 2, 3 days. You
Wow.
understand? So yeah. So you could understand the amount of time I spent on YouTube, reading. Then you have to understand what vulnerability management entails, what is threat management, what are the tools they use for it. Go online, check how these tools are applied, check your
Mhm.
current organization, what tool did they use, and go on YouTube and check them out there and watch them. So it was almost like a 2 months self-training, no social life period for that transitioning. You understand? Because it was on the job. So oftentimes when you find yourself in such scenario, it is natural for you to be shaken or fret, but I will advise keep a cool head and then focus on it. Assess the situation, assess it. What do they have? What do I have? Where do I need to go from there? And then you find yourself doing what you need to do.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think the everybody on the call, we are actually hearing the advice, and that's coming from a well-experienced cybersecurity engineer, right? So we have some questions on the chat, right? We have one question from Bolu. So Bolu is asking, how can someone gain hands-on experience in cybersecurity without a prior professional exposure? Are there labs or simulations that someone can actually go to and being able to do some projects and gain experience on it?
Yes, yes, yeah, a lot of them. All right. So without prior experience or experience on hands-on lab or simulations, I will still go back, refer again back to your Cisco skill for all. There's a reason why I keep referring to it now, because in every of the module or training courses they have there are labs.
Okay.
And the reason why I keep referring to it is because it is free. You don't need to pay. All you need to do is just to ensure you have the configuration set for your lab. Yes, and also there's the try hack me. To a certain extent, try hack me is a bit free. Then when it comes to deeper modules where you have to start doing some pen testing and the likes, you have to pay for it. So I would advise also you utilize the free aspect of it. And then when you are comfortable enough to be able to afford the other aspect that is paid for, then you can try those things. Then I will also advise pair up with guys, pair up with friends, make meaningful friends that are actually into tech or cybersecurity that can actually give you free resources that you can utilize. Some of them already have their own labs at home. So friendship mustn't always be about social gathering. You can also meet up somewhere, get resources from them that can actually help you to increase your knowledge and practical hands-on experience. Understand? This will
Yeah.
help as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think the second question we have is actually also from Great. It's similar to what you just said. So how can someone participate on hands-on projects in cybersecurity? Which YouTube channel do you recommend? So I think you have already touched on that, but I
Yeah.
want on the one you said is actually free. That's based
Yes.
on project, based on, and I think we should have the link on the chat. So they can
Yeah.
actually visit it
Yes.
when
So Bella
once
has already dropped the link. Yeah, it's already there. Netcard.com. Bella.
okay
Yeah.
okay, yeah, cool.
So that's a link. It will do you a lot of good, right? Because it's free.
Okay, cool. So great. There's a link, netcar.com. So just visit that link, and you should be able to get projects to work on when it comes to cybersecurity. So the last question we'll be taking from today is actually from our co-presenter also. When you're learning these things, right? When you're doing trainings, you're learning, you're spending time, you understand, you're spending resources, you're not going for social gatherings, you're turning from a social guy to a net guy, right? Like many of us are turned to. I can see your sharing. Many of us are turned to, right? So after this whole sacrifice and the things you put into place, and you're applying for jobs, right? And you keep getting peanuts being priced for your services you're going to give. So what will you say for an entry level in Nigeria currently? What's the entry level salary range for a cybersecurity guy?
Okay. So I cannot speak to other corporate organizations. It's a tough one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can speak for the banking sector as a whole. Now, yeah, I think banking sector is one of the most reliable sectors so far when it comes to actually taking care of their staff. So for an entry level, right, for cybersecurity, you might most likely be looking at between 300 to 550.
Oh, great. Great.
Yes,
So 300 to 500 for a start.
yes, for a start. So you
Wow.
might be looking at that, yes, for a start for cybersecurity for an entry level. When I mean entry level, just graduated from school, went through the graduate training program, and then you find yourself in cybersecurity. Not at an entry level of you've had 10 years experience and then now come to the bank. No, it won't work that way. So, but uh, I'll use myself an example.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself. Don't relent. Keep acquiring skills so that when the opportunity comes through your network, it will make you are prepared. You can't do
Yeah.
anything more without your network. So have meaningful network and prepare yourself.
Yeah. Like what, like a saying, a very popular saying that said that when preparation meets opportunity, right? So once you're preparing yourself very well, you might not get the opportunity now, but once you're prepared and the opportunity comes, you know you're prepared to actually face that particular opportunity and get that particular um, stuff or jobs that is coming your way. So I'm not actually going to read the last questions from the co-presenter. It's asking after doing 6 months training and you're getting 300,000 salary,
I feel
right?
that's high because you know what we started with. Level of that.
Yes, so I was about saying that, right? Like people like us that started with something, I will not
Tangible.
say it, but something
Something
good,
tangible.
right? Something
Something.
good, and you're doing a 6 months training. After I know most of us we have master's degree for 3 years. These 3 years based on Nigeria issues, right? You do 3 years master's degree, you do 4 years BSc, then you still train yourself and you start with something tangible, right? And then some of us we just finish university and you do a training for 6 months and you get it 300, man. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. Nigeria has actually improved when it comes to salary range.
Like I said, it is in the banking sector, which is where I can speak for. I can't speak for other corporate organizations. So I'm aware of all of the reviews and stuff being done in the banking sector. So I can easily relate with what they do when it comes to payment for IT professionals generally, not just cybersecurity.
Okay. So I think we should be taking the last question for the day, right? And we'll call this a day. The last question is from Stephen. Stephen is asking, what if you have at least 5 years experience in cybersecurity and you come into the banking sector with a master's degree in tech? Like how much will it be, sir? Stephen wants Stephen wants a motivation. Please tell him.
Okay. So, okay, I'll refer to banking sector. So there are cadres in banking sector, what we refer to as grade, right? There's a entry level, there's depending on the bank you work with, but basically it's entry level, assistant officer, officer, senior officer, then the managerial position and above. So if you have a 5-year experience and a master degree, it will be tailored to the KIDA and the requirement for the KIDA. I can't speak for that about that because I'm not with the human resource department. You understand? So I think, but there'll be something good for you, sure. There should.
Yeah. I think the banks are and everywhere is different for 5 years experience. Say the exact amount, yeah. But for entry level is out there. So probably that's where Omoh is landing at. So
Exactly.
Sir Omoh, you really don't want to answer my question, so I'll ask it. What about remote jobs?
Okay. For remote jobs, it's a tough one when it comes to the Nigerian environment and how people perceive us, right? But I think if you're able to prove yourself over time, Biola, you and I basically can speak to that more. The remote jobs comes as it should, but you also know the challenges that comes around with it too. Yes, there are several opportunities, but the one thing I can assure you is this: when it comes to cybersecurity, the certifications, CEH, EGPT, CPENT, CISSP, CISM, they are all globally accepted. So writing it in Nigeria is the same thing you see when you go to the UK, the same thing you see in Canada, which means the same opportunity you have for the guys out there is the same opportunity that will be available for you too if you are there. So if you are looking at remote opportunities, I would recommend solidly, please get those key certifications: CISSP, CISM, CRISC, CRISC, CRISC. That talks about risk management and risk. So those certifications are globally accepted, and some of those organizations out there, they look for those certifications before they can even talk to you about an opportunity. So yes, there are opportunities. It may not be easy for us to get them, but like I said, make yourself ready and it will come your way.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Omoh, and thank you for creating time. I know we are actually far. We have spent more time on this webinar today, and we have extra 20 minutes to our people. We're very sorry for that, but I know the webinar has been reached, and I think we have actually gained. Biola, you want to
Yes.
say something? A question?
Yeah.
Sir? Okay, sorry. Magdell is actually asking a question, right? So, I think this should be the last question for today, right? I've said that before, but this should be the last questions for today, and after this, we're not taking any other questions again. So, I don't know if it's he or she, but something is actually asking the question that landing an IT role with foreign companies is a core in Nigeria, right? A known fact. From your experience, would you say it's even harder given the sensitivity of the role, cybersecurity? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, I got your question. All right. So, from my own experience, personally, I said I would like I would always say, it begins with your certifications. Now, these guys, whenever they contact you, whenever they reach out to you via LinkedIn, they already have certain criteria preset, right? Depending on how you've configured your profile or depending on what you are selling to them. Now, in cybersecurity, it depends on these certifications. CISSP, CISM, CISA, and CEH, EGPT. These are like core cybersecurity certification that is needed. So, is it easy to get a remote job? Brother, to be sincere, most of us here are still trying as much as possible to get some of them. We get the interviews, we get to that stage, and they ask you, where are you from? You tell them Nigeria, and they tell you, Segobe. You understand? So there's that challenge how do I put this now? Of who we are known as Nigerians, Africans. I've even had the opportunity recently where somebody actually asked me if we even have internet in Nigeria. And then you tend to ask yourself, but you're communicating to me via internet. So, how are you still asking me the same question? So, so it's a tough one. It's tough, but I will say, get prepared, get certified, and then apply. Give it a try. Nobody
Yeah.
has to try, and hopefully we hit it. And hopefully when I hit it, I'll come back and tell you, oh, was the way I went through and I got it. Use this method too as well.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Omoh. Thank you very much, my co-host, Abiola. And thank you very much for joining the webinar. So like what we said on our previous webinar, we'll be doing this once, maybe twice in a month or once in a month, right? Depending on how our schedule is, to just bring somebody in a particular field that has gained much experience, and the person will actually discuss with us on how he actually started his own experience, his own journey to tech, right? So I think we've talked on cloud computing, we've talked on cybersecurity now. So we'll actually go to the next phase. I think that will be by next year, right? Early next year, we'll discuss about that also. Then we, like what we said, we have the WhatsApp channel. We have a WhatsApp channel on that is being pasted on the chat. So just go there. You can join the WhatsApp channel so you can get first-hand information whenever we are getting ready for our next webinar, or if you have any follow-up questions to ask on that WhatsApp channel. So we actually have good guys, guys that wants to become mentors, that are ready to mentor you in whatever areas you want to join. So I think we have Omoh on the group. We have a good Microsoft MVPs that will be joining the group, and they are actually ready to work with us to mentor you guys in this whole journey of tech, depending on what area you want to start. If you want to go into cybersecurity, software development, front end, back end, cloud engineering, cloud security, programming, and the likes of them, right? So we have them on the group that we actually go, they are ready to mentor you. So after this call, the recordings will be ready. You can see the recordings in on 2 different platforms. You can see it on Tech Abbey on YouTube. I think he's going to post his YouTube channel. You can see it on Learn Tech with Siri on YouTube also. You can go there and have, if you want to watch this again, you can just go there and watch them. Then also you can follow us on our Instagram pages for still much informations. That's Tech Abbey and Siri Cloud on Instagram, right? So our channels are also open for you to follow us and have first-hand informations on on our next webinar. So I don't know if Bella have anything to add to this before we call this a day. Okay, Omoh, do you have anything to add?
Nope. Thank you everyone for joining us.
So,
Trace you. Hope to see you
so
at the top.
Yeah, so thank you guys for joining. See you next year. And if we don't talk again to next year, happy Christmas and happy New Year. Bye for now.
Cheers, guys. Bye.